Welcome back, everyone, to the Healing Room. Tonight's topic of conversation is the art and practice of meditation. So, whenever we think of meditation, we think of something we do, an activity that we participate in. But for me, the meaning of meditation is to be fully present with what is. So, it's not simply what we do, it is what we embody or what we strive to embody when we go into the world. Because the world is the external. It takes us out of ourself, and ourself is centered, is calm, present. But we go into the world, and all of a sudden, there's all of these factors, time and traveling and work and all these responsibilities. And so it's very easy to lose our center in the world. So the goal is to be able to be an embodiment of meditation, to be this calm in the eye of Maya's storm. So no matter what Maya brings to us, we remain centered and present, non-reactive, not in the past, not in the future, but just right here, right now. And so in order to get to that place of meditation, of an embodiment of meditation, we do these practices. We sit, we close our eyes. The closing of the eyes is pulling all the energy back, right? The opening of the eyes, we're not just seeing, we're projecting into the world. So when we close the eyes, we're pulling the projections all back. The inner eye then opens up. So the eyes of duality close, and then the single eye arises. So for this reason, we close our eyes, or we have like just small slits. But the focus is that the energy is coming back to us and we are going internal. So some sort of practice that brings us home every day is quite important. Otherwise, the whirlwind of Maya, of this illusion, takes us out of ourself and the truth that is within us. So we practice meditation, whatever practice we do, whether it's closing of the eyes meditation, or if it's a guided meditation, or if it's a mantra meditation, whatever it is. When we sit and do these practices, we are training ourselves to be able to withstand whatever comes our way. So we close the eyes, we activate, engage the breath, because the breath reconnects us to our body. It brings us back home into this vehicle that we are in, because again, the world will pull us out, right? It pulls us out of our body, into our heads, into our minds, and then we are simply living life from the neck up. And so the breathing re-engages our connection to ourself, to our body, mind, body, soul. It's the reintegrating factor. Because if you think about it, we live most of our days without any awareness of our breath. Think about it. How many times did you think about your breath today? How many times did you take a conscious breath today? And yet that breath is the integrating factor. Conscious breathing pulls in higher frequencies of energy, prana and chi. And yet we don't take not even 10 seconds a day to consciously breathe, reactivate all of our cells in our body, and release what no longer serves us. Imagine if we just do this a few times a day, how much different our life could be. But you see, we first have to have the awareness that we've lost our center in order to come back to our center. And meditation cultivates awareness through the witness. So once the breath is engaged, right? Eyes closed, breath engaged, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxation response. We activate the relaxation response because we tend to go into a sympathetic response, a fight or flight, when we go into the world, because the world is designed for us to be in fight or flight, stress, worry, fear. That is a sympathetic fight or flight response of the nervous system. So we have to consciously engage the breath to activate and bring back on board the parasympathetic, releasing all the stress. And then we activate the witness, which simply observes everything exactly as it is, without any opinion, without the need or desire to change anything. That is a point and place of freedom, because the ego personality notices what's wrong, notices the faults in the world, and wants to change them. So we activate the witness that watches the ego personality and all of its thoughts and worries and concerns and judgments, et cetera, et cetera. It watches. And when something is watched and you don't give it any energy, the volume goes down. It's not being fed. And the fuel of the ego is some sort of attachment or identity to something. And then it feeds off of that. But the witness pulls back. The witness says, there's nothing to do. There's nothing I am right now except witnessing. I am simply witnessing. So that witness, the more we cultivate it, brings us greater and greater awareness of the not self operating in the foreground or the background, depending on how you perceive it. So the witness, the more it's cultivated, increases the awareness, which allows us to see the non-self, the reactionary aspect of ourself. And then we notice it, and then we're curious about it, because the witness is always just curious, neutral. I'm curious about these patterns. And as soon as you see something, you have the power to transform it. Without the seeing, without the witnessing, you don't have the information to change something in your life. So the practice of meditation and engaging these aspects allows us to be more and more in the world as our true self, less and less as our false self, as our coping strategies, as our wounded self. Because as soon as those parts come online in the world, we bring our meditation to that moment. And we say, I recognize this pattern. I'm not going to feed it. And you pull back. And you're able to just witness and watch yourself, and watch yourself not get active, not get reactive. There's a lot of power in that. So this practice of meditation allows us, once we are complete each day, to go into the world and carry our practice with us, so that we are meditation in action, that we are an embodiment of that meditation each moment in time. And then you fulfill your soul's purpose, because to be an embodiment of that frequency in the world serves the whole world. It serves your soul's purpose of being totally present in each moment. That's the goal. That's the game won. I call this the game of life, what we're doing here. And to win at this game of life is, first, you have to wake up to the reality that it's a game. And then secondly, to realize the difference between your true self and your false self. The grounded, centered, present self versus the reactive, past, future living self. And so we engage our meditative practice, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You can have a meditation practice of walking on the earth. And every step you take is a conscious step. So that is an active meditation. Some people really need to do more active meditations than sitting meditations. I'm one of those. I prefer the active one. And so walking in nature, even barefoot, with the awareness of every step one is taking, that I'm present in every step, that I'm present in this body, I'm present with nature. And then all the thoughts, they just drop. They drop because all the energy and attention and focus has gone to the feet. And you can even do this in a city with sneakers on or shoes on. It doesn't matter. You just all of a sudden bring your awareness to your feet. If ever you're in a crisis situation, this is a great meditation. I am right here, right now, in my breath, in my feet, in my body. And I know exactly what I need to do in this moment in time. And so you coach yourself in the moment. You stay in meditation. You don't go into fight or flight like everybody else. Very, very helpful. So that's an active meditation. And there's also mantra meditation, which some of you may know of. Mantra is a Sanskrit word or phrase that we utter for a period of time. You're generally using a mala. A mala is like a rosary bead. It has 100 a rosary. It has 108 beads and a guru bead to inform you when you've achieved 108. And Sanskrit is a vibrational language. So you don't even need to know what the words mean. You simply need to utter them correctly. And so the number one Sanskrit word that most of us know is Om. And when we pronounce Om, when we utter Om, whether it's audibly or silently internally, it has the capacity to shift our consciousness. In the moment, for sure, and then over time, it can support us in clearing our field of consciousness. And it calms everything down, all that mental noise, it calms down. And the rishis in the Himalayas, those seers, those meditating seers, they were the ones who received these Sanskrit mantras. And one mantra that is very, very significant that I received when I went to India almost 25 years ago. I went on a trip to the Mahakumbh Mela, and at one point someone said, I will be teaching the Gayatri mantra by the large oak tree in 5 minutes. And my inner voice said, like screamed, go, this is why you came to India to receive this mantra. So the Gayatri mantra, I will inform you of what it does. This mantra, traditionally called the mother of the Vedas, the practice of this mantra enabled the sages to receive revelation of all other mantras. For this mantra calms mental noise, washes off karmic impurities, purifies the ego, sharpens the intellect, and illuminates the inner being with the light which flows directly from the source. This mantra connects us to the teacher within and helps us receive inner guidance and inner inspiration. One may not notice an instantaneous transformation, but the effect of this mantra is immense and everlasting. The process of purification through this practice begins in the deep unconscious and gradually pervades all aspects of our personality. We become new and fully transformed from the inside out. So those are pretty powerful aspects. And I can attest to it after doing it for almost 25 years. It has transformed my consciousness. And the reason why this mantra and many others are so significant is because they help us to clear our subconscious mind, our samskaras, our deep wounds. It does the work by repeating these words. It does the inner work for us, with us. So I'll just say it a few times, this mantra. Om Bo Bhuvasva Tatsavito Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuvasva Tatsavitu Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. So even just doing it twice, those who are sensitive can feel the shift in the space. So imagine doing that 108 times, once, twice a day, 3 times a day. Whenever I'm in a challenged state, or whenever I've been in a challenged state, I would go immediately to the mantra. And within 20 minutes, because that's how long a round takes, I'd notice I come right back to center. So, very powerful tool if one resonates with it. It's said that mantras find us from lifetime to lifetime, because we've been doing it for lifetimes. And it helps pull us out of the Maya, lift back the veils of illusion. So if one is called to do a mantra, one is blessed, because that you can ride the waves of that mantra and stay conscious in a world of unconsciousness. We can also do affirmations as a meditation. We can repeat certain words and phrases as the subconscious mind operates from rhyme and rhythm. So when we say things over and over again, the subconscious mind will take it on as a new program. So, for example, inhaling peace, exhaling relax. That can be your daily meditation. Whenever you find yourself going into a contractive state, a stressed out state, a dissociated state, use the breath and the inhalation, peace, exhalation, relax. You can use affirmations if your mind ever goes into worrying about anything specifically like abundance. You can say, I receive the abundance I am. Inhaling, I receive the abundance I am. Exhaling, I receive the abundance I am. And you just allow that to permeate your consciousness. Whatever it is that's needed can be found through a meditative process and a meditation practice. Good. I think that's good for the moment. Okay. Let's remove the pin from me. Look at y'all here. Good to see y'all. Yeah, this topic is really important to me because we need tools in this world. We need many tools because the vortex of illusion is so powerful, and the fitting in and going with the status quo is an energy that just can easily take us over without us even knowing we're being taken over. So having some sort of a pulse to the internal self, to the true self, to the soul self is very important. Very, very important. So grounding exercises, yoga, the meditation, the active meditation, the silent meditation, the nature meditation, whatever it is, to have and utilize these tools that are at our service so that we don't lose our center in the world, or we lose it less and less as we show up more and more. Yeah. thoughts, sharings? Oh, uh, awarenesses, resistance to meditation. I've had tremendous resistance to silent, quiet meditation because I have a very, very active mind. You know, I am truly inspired. And so I like to do mantra meditation because the mantra quiets that mind. It absorbs my thoughts and transmutes them. So for this mind, the mantra meditation is the best I've found. I will sit quietly and silently in the morning at times when I feel so. Or if I need guidance, I will sit and ask a question, and then I will wait until the response arises. So that's another tool for meditation, for receiving guidance, is to sit in the emptiness, in the not knowing, in that humble space of humility, saying, I know nothing, so I need some support. Because the universe loves emptiness. It abhors a vacuum and just pours information into an empty mind, into an open heart. And this is why we work to cultivate the open heart. Because if it's not an open heart, then it's a closed mind. And if it's a closed mind, what kind of guidance, what kind of inspiration is going to come into a closed mind? So we are constantly working towards this place of ego dissolution, not ego death. You know, some forms of practices will say we're looking for the death of the ego. I think it's more of the dissolution. So the container is still there, but the ego is not chiming in so much anymore. It knows its role as, you know, the open hands, the open vessel, not the closed fist of conditioning. This is the training that we are doing with the ego personality, to witness it and say, yeah, I'm watching you, but I'm not giving you any energy. I'm not giving you any sustenance because this way of being in the world isn't working for me and I'm running the show, not you. But believe it or not, most people have no idea there's a distinction between the ego personality and the self. They are merged. Well, it's more like ego over the self, right? This is like where many people are just following their little mind. There's some sort of awareness, right? Oh, there's an ego that I'm struggling with, right? And then there's this, which is the witness, which says, I see you. I know what you're doing, and I'm not going to feed you. And then eventually this aspect just opens, receives, acknowledges it knows nothing, right? That contemplation. I know nothing. And when it gets there, you're in a good space. You're in a really good space because the universe loves the emptiness and just drops all this wonderful information, all these truths, infinite truths into your consciousness. But yes, resistance to meditation is the ego fighting against you moving on from the ego. So resistance to meditation is the ego fighting the idea that it's going to lose power because you're going to keep cultivating awareness more and more, realizing it's just chattering teeth on a shelf, spewing nonsense, lots of conditioning that it's been fed since the beginning of time and constantly fed every single day. So whenever there is that intense resistance, you just activate the witness and go, I see you. We're still going to sit here and do this practice every day, hopefully the same time each day. And when we do that, more and more, you have less and less power. So the ego doesn't want to hear that. It doesn't want to know any of the information. It just wants to carry on in the roles and identities it's been carrying on in, because that's what it identifies with. That is the power. But if you don't feed the fuel, if you don't give it the power, it has no power. So the significance of meditation and taking the time each day to go within and to recollect all of your aspects of yourself. Recollect, remember who you are, what your purpose is, what we're doing in this world. What are we doing here? What exactly are we doing here? That's a great question to ask in meditation. What is my purpose in this world? What is my purpose in this world? And then see what arises. It's a fascinating contemplation. I'll do it often. What is my purpose now in this moment? What does this body wish to do in this moment? What is it being called to do? So instead of, the gerbil wheel going, it's a body-centered presence. It's a body-centered life. So when I wake up in the morning, I just see, do you want to go in the garden? Do you want to do exercise? Do you want to go online? What does the body want to do in this moment? Because the body is where the intelligence is, not in the mind. And so I let the body inform me and direct me. And I don't eat because it's, 8 o'clock or noon. I eat because the body is hungry. And I eat what the body wants to eat, not what my mind wants. So more and more you live an embodied life with a presence that radiates from that level of embodiment. And then everywhere you go, you bring that peace. You're a bodhisattva. You're in the world to be of service by radiating peace and love and kindness and acceptance and unconditional love. All these wonderful qualities. But first, we have to achieve this in the self. We have to work on our own stuff before we can be an embodiment of all those things for the world. That's why we spend a lot of time alone, on our own, in our own space, as much as we can, right? Not wasting that time and energy, but really utilizing it to contemplate. Because, a lifetime goes like that. It's like the blink of an eye, thousands upon thousands of lifetimes. So if we are blessed to be in this world at this very significant moment in time, which I'm not sure if you all know, but I very well know, this is a very significant moment in time where we can achieve higher states of consciousness by riding the waves consciousness, riding the waves. And the way to ride the waves is through meditation. You let yourself be carried. No struggle, no strife. You let yourself be carried by the moment. The moment takes us. Life takes us. If we just listen and pay attention, life takes us exactly where we're supposed to go in each moment. Life takes us, if we are willing, ready, and able to listen, exactly where we're supposed to go. We don't have to figure it out. This is one of the greatest hacks. If you learn how to surrender and just be in the present moment, there's always the signs, there's always the directives from our soul. And this is another reason why we meditate, so that we may clear our channels to receive guidance, to receive our intuition and the impulses. Guidance comes in so many different ways. Each one of us has various strong points in terms of being receptive to guidance. So when we sit and meditate, we clear those channels that may be clogged. so that we may be inspired, so that we may be more intuitive, so that we may be communicated with, right? The less dross within our mind and our subconscious, the more we are open and available to higher consciousness. That's the plug-in. Unplug from the third dimensional world, from the Maya, from the dream, and plug into source, to the light, to the truth, to the one, to unity consciousness. That's the game. That's the game one. No worrying, no concerns. All our needs are met. You have anything that you need? Ask. Ask and it is given. How many times I've sat in meditation with an issue and came out of it with the guidance. It's there if we just sit and ask. Sit and receive, because if we go into worrying, we perpetuate that thought form which goes into our field of consciousness, and then we have to draw to us that which we're worrying about to confirm that what we believe is true. Right? It's insane. Worrying creates this field of consciousness that perpetuates the exact thing you're worrying about. This is why we have to activate the witness to dissolve that mind that is doing what it's doing to sabotage our lives. So whenever we go into a negative habit pattern, we activate the witness immediately, go into meditation immediately and say, what am I getting out of this? What do I get out of this behavior? There's no winning in this behavior, in this worrying, in this concern. So I'm going to go into the observer and just notice that we'll call it the worry wart. I'll just notice the worry wart voice that speaks, but it's not me. Just like the fearful voice is not me. It's simply a voice speaking. And again, the more you are in the witness mode, the more you are observing, the more that which you observe transforms through observing it. Anything I observe in a neutral stance transforms through the observation of it. That is quantum physics. That's quantum physics. We have that much power through our capacity to observe, to transform that which we are observing. So say we are in our meditation in the world, just observing the world from an open heart. That observation is transforming everything around us as we are walking in the world. So we are being of service, completely of service, by living in this world with an open heart, open mind. We are doing our soul's work. It's not a thing like a performance or a job or something that we're creating. That's not our purpose. The purpose is the presence that we bring as we increase our consciousness. And then our field more and more increases in consciousness. So me sitting here on this mountain, the more I'm able to incorporate the light of consciousness, the further the reaches of this field that I am sitting in. It can go to other states. That's how powerful our field of consciousness is, and the capacity to be fully present in the world without trying to change a thing, without going against anything, without being for anything, right? Imagine not being for or against anything. Curious, eh? I'm not for or against anything. I don't care. You want to do that? Great. You don't? Great. It's so liberating because there's nothing to do in this state of consciousness. In a meditative state, there's nothing to do. It's just being in each moment, in this now, and then the next now, and the next now. It's just now. Okay. I'm talking lots. Anyone else would like to talk and share and awarenesses, revelations, healings?
I'll say something. So, hi.
Hi, Janet.
Hi. I just have a good memory of, I'm pretty certain you were the one who introduced me to meditation. I'm sitting here going, okay, go before that, go before that. And maybe, as a child and everything, and even as a teenager, I was feeling that we obviously live in whatever level of consciousness we're in while we're young. So maybe, I could relate to, I consider meditation uh, a form of reverence. It's reverence for the connection. So I know before that, I had that a little bit, but the actual sitting in meditation and then like all the examples that you've given today, the branching out of that, that there's so much there. It's not just meditation. And, there's like, obviously, like people think, oh, you have the Zen meditation. I learned to meditate with you. And then I spent time from that point on through my life making decisions on whether or not I'd be able to meditate or not. So I spent time in the Zen, Buddhist Zen Center. I spent time in an ashram. I spent time with Stuart Wilde. You introduced me to his book, and I studied with him. I'm still studying in consciousness. To,
Wow.
so that was just like this. It's still going. And it was really, yeah, well, I guess I really, really want to say thank you because that's a profound thank you and a gratitude and something that uh, definitely develops, matures, goes, it's a relationship. I've been through some of this resistance, like when like, things in life got really messy again. I'm like, well, I was meditating and all this. So my ego steps in and goes, no, I'm not going to meditate. We were meditating and then aren't really, really great. So it starts putting its foot down, like you mentioned. So it's really great too to be able to be in a conversation at this level. Yeah,
Thank you. Yes, how wonderful to hear that. Yeah,
yeah.
the ego, it's easy to meditate when everything is great. Very easy to meditate when you're feeling great, but not so easy when you're not in a calm state mentally. Yeah.
Well, do you think that I don't, I, I try not to question too much. I really have, like you've mentioned too, to just go, whatever, surrender, let go, release. That's it. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to get confused about why, is it I'm developing more or is my vibration going lower? So those things in brief contemplation help me when it gets harder. It's like, I guess, getting to you know, the masters tennis, league. You have to like get good at it in some ways, but good by your own, by my own mastery. Like what's still there that is like allowing it to happen. That's my next level, like something like that in terms of how can I overcome this or what is it I need to see. I've tried to reduce the processing and increase the confidence and the trust, and that helps a lot too with the keeping the mind out of it chattering.
Yeah, again, when the witness is there, none of that even matters, right? All those thoughts and processes, it's just like, oh, it's interesting. My voice is, the voice is now louder now. Oh, how curious. I wonder why. It's like, oh, well, that's curious. You activate that witness again, it pulls back even more so. Who knows why there's a smoke screen like that arises is very curious, maybe breaking through yet another layer of who knows what. But I found that over the years, these tendencies just it's like a clog in the sink. It just like it'll get stuck and then all of a sudden it rooters itself through. Um, but to not even get caught up even in those moments. It's like, oh, this was a good meditation, this was a bad meditation. It's like, actually, I'm just still going to sit and meditate without giving it any value, without giving it good, bad, right, wrong, because it's still the duality of this world that speaks like that. It was a good meditation, it was not good meditation. It was meditation. However it went, it was meditation. So we're learning how not to give value to everything in this reality, even the reality within, you know? Like, again, I love that saying of that. Um, he was in prison in China. A Tibetan Lama was in prison in China for 10 years. And when he came out, they interviewed him and said, what was the hardest part of being in the prison? And his response was, I almost got angry once. So no matter what was coming his way, there was no value placed on it. It was simply a noticing of a sensation, a noticing of a feeling, a noticing of whatever. And how much power this man had to survive 10 years in a Chinese prison. And the Chinese are experts at torture. So, how to be in this world, which is nowhere near, I think, as challenging as being in a Chinese prison, and be able to take things with a calmness and a serenity and just accept it for what it is without good, bad, right, wrong, victim, non-victim, without any of those values placed on an experience. And that is a level of mastery to be able to do that because our mind is constantly giving a value to everything, a definition to everything. I'm walking around my land here with a plant app. What's the name of this plant? What's the name of that plant? And it's like, wow, everything is being identified. Wow. Like I have to limit everything to its consciousness. And there's usefulness, and then it can be very not useful at all to be identified with all of these things, with all of these sensations, with all of these thoughts. So, this is our practice of just how to be in the world, not of the world, but it doesn't mean apathy. It means total presence with what is, but not identifying with any of it. There is the artistry. There is the mastery. I was in an experience, a group the other week, and we were meditating, and I was noticing that somebody was making lots of noise, and within a minute, all this bustling was happening, and somebody had fainted in their chair, and I just observed it, and I'm like, he needs rescue remedy. Very calmly. And I'm like, oh, I have it in my car. So I just walked out to the car as everyone's shuffling around and, trying to help this individual. And I came back and it's like, oh, I have no rescue remedy. How interesting. I just stayed in that center lane, watching all this hubbub going around. Call 911. I'm like, we don't need to call 911. It's okay. And get him this and get him that. I'm like, no, he just needs to be chill for a moment. And then I said, it's his blood sugar. I said, did you eat today? He said, nothing at all. I said, did you drink? He said, not much at all. I'm like, there you go. Your blood sugar dropped and you fainted. Here, but what was interesting is in my bag, I had a energy bar, which was sweet. And I gave it to him and came right back online. So being in that witness state in the midst of all the hubbub and 911 and we have to this and we was just like, oh, go to the car, get the bag, come back. Oh, no rescue remedy. Oh, interesting. Like just calm and neutral where there's chaos. And it all got settled. I didn't really do anything except I was just present with this individual who fainted. That's all. And the information just came because I wasn't doing anything. I was moved. I was directed. I was the witness. I wasn't the one reacting. So, yeah, this is life because there's always something happening in life. To us, to someone else, what is my role in this moment? Can I be of service? Does it serve my highest good to be of service? Do I step in? Do I step back? Right? All these questions can be answered instantaneously in a meditative state because sometimes you need not to act. Step back and just observe. That's enough sometimes. That is the gift, is to step back and observe. And then if I'm called, I will step in and say, here's the things that are needed. So it's very important because you never want to impose on someone's needs or wants. You're thinking you know what they need. You don't. You don't always know what they need. I was in Croatia once and I saw a small child. Everything there, the beaches there are rocks, all rocks. And this kid, like probably a 1.5-year-old, took a really hard fall right on his face and was hysterically crying. And I had Arnica, 1M, with me, you know. And I walked over and I said, "Hey, I have arnica if you want for your child." And the father looked at me and I thought he wanted to kill me. And he's like, "I don't need any of your medicine, American." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I just stepped back and I felt terrible because the child continued crying for the next 2 hours. And I could see that the wife was very, she wanted the help, but she couldn't receive the help. So I had to just honor what was and step completely and utterly out of the way. And had I been more attuned, I would have known that on that Croatian beach. And, but my heart would have been like, my mind would have been like, but you have the remedy, you have to do something. But in the meditative state of presence, I would have known it doesn't serve. It'll create more tension than support. So sometimes we have to even go against our mind, like I want to serve in the way that I want to serve. Sometimes it just doesn't serve. Anyone else?
Joseph, I had a quick question. The when we approach meditation itself with an intention, half the time or whatever percentage that is, I'm like, how can I rewire and reprogram my subconscious mind? And then the other half, the other side of the coin is, like you said, let me just clear it all and hear guidance. What is like, how do you approach that decision? How often do you do either? I guess.
That's a good question. I will be prompted. So my upper chakras are very open. So I get these prompts, what I call prompts, like sit down and ask a question. And I'm like, sit down and ask, I wonder what question I'm going to ask. And I'll sit down and be like, oh yeah, I've been wondering about this thing. And so I will sit down and say, I need some support in making a decision in this topic, in this area. And I will sit down and wait because where is the insight to create an intention even coming from? Right? That's a soul directive. When that drop comes into my consciousness, I am like, oh, I'm being prompted to create, manifest, generate, make a decision. And so I'm going to sit and I'm going to reach out. I'm going to throw the boomerang out. I'm going to ask so that it may be given. So if I'm prompted, I will sit down and I will ask. And oftentimes I will audibly hear what the answer is. Other times I may not. And so I will await a serendipitous experience or someone else saying something to me. I will await until it comes in a different form. Or I will say, I didn't hear anything. Give me 3 clear signs of what to do in this situation. So I will create openings for my guides, the universe, for the information to come through in a way that I can undoubtedly know that this is clear guidance. But if there's no static in my field, then it's simply sitting in meditation in the quietude, being empty and being open to receive. But I like to do that type of work. I like to do subconscious work right before I go to bed and ask questions. How do I deal with this pattern that I'm noticing in my life? How do I heal this body issue that I am dealing with? I will ask before going to bed because there is dialogue happening in dream time. And then I will keep a pad and pen by my bed in order to receive clear guidance in that way. So the intention piece is when we're prompted to get a specific piece of guidance. So that's a different type of meditation than the, you know, calling our energy back, grounding ourselves, and then being open to just witness what is. It's a very different type of meditation. That's more of an active meditation when you're working with intention. But again, it works if the stronger you work the muscle, the quicker and easier it is to receive guidance. Once I had these supplements that were very expensive supplements, and they were going to expire in 3 months, and I just started like railing on myself, like, why didn't you notice sooner? Why didn't you do this? Why did you? And I'm like, I didn't. So I'm not going to sit in this pity party. So I heard just ask. So I sat in meditation, I quieted my mind. I said, what do I do with all these supplements? And within a second, I heard sell it on Amazon. Just sell it. And I was like, oh, of course. So I put it on there. I was honest. It expires in 3 months. And 24 hours, all 30 bottles were gone. All 30 bottles. Just that easy. So I had to first notice my own mind's chatter and limitation. Then I had to create enough space to be like, I don't have to do this to myself. And then with that space, the guidance came of just ask what to do. And so I sat, I asked, and then put it on Amazon and then sold in 24 hours. I mean, that's riding the waves. That's riding the waves of conscious, letting ourselves be taken on the journey rather than fighting and figuring it out and, the negative aspects of the ego. It just doesn't really serve us. All makes sense? Great. Who else? What else? Yes, Anna. I can't hear you. You have to unmute.
Mute.
There you go.
Oh, finally. Hi, Joseph. It's been a long time that I haven't been in the um, healing room, but anyway, very good to see you and everybody else. Hi to everybody.
You too, Anna.
I just when you were talking about the Gayatri mantra, it's a great one. It came to my mind when my daughter Erica was about to start college, and we were going through all these things that they ask, and one of the things they were asking was about to be fully vaccinated, and I stopped vaccinating her since she was 13 years old. So it was like almost 5 years without any more vaccines. And they were saying that whoever doesn't have the whole thing was being rejected. And Erica was, let's go. They're going to kick us out of here. Let's go. And I was like, no, wait, let's wait. And I started to chant the mantra. you know, repeating and repeating. She was mad. She was, please be quiet. Stop. I said, no, please. Just let me do my thing. And let's stay in the line. And she was so, mad at me. She was like embarrassed, and I just kept going. People was looking at me. I didn't care. I was like just doing my thing. And yeah, I kept doing it. We kept in the line. When we get to the lady, she saw her papers and she was, you're good, you're good. Go ahead. Next step. And she was like, wow. So the next one was we were supposed to go to see the payment for the payment. And she was, anyway, okay, we went through this, fine. But now the payment, we don't have the money and they're going to kick us out. Anyway, let's go. And I kept saying the same thing. I kept with the mantra, I was chanting the mantra, and we went to this lady, the finances lady. And same thing, she was, you guys are all good. It's all set. FAFSA went through, everything is good. Awesome. And I was like, oh my God. She couldn't believe it. She was like, what kind of witch you are? And I was like,
Right.
it's just trusting, and
Yeah, but
go
I
ahead,
thought when you
Joseph.
told me this story before, I thought you were on the line and the lady got up from her seat and came on the line to you. No?
No.
You walked all the way to the front?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
We have to make the line and go.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
And
my version better because it's more dramatic. But okay, still you got there and they stamped it approved even though she didn't have all the vaccines.
right. I don't know how they saw. They said, oh my God. They were like, they saw that she has all the vaccines, supposedly, but she didn't. She was
Right.
13.
Right.
So,
The mantra does clear. It clears the path. And so these are wonderful examples of
right.
when we trust and we know, then the energy flows.
Right. Definitely. I highly recommend it. It's
How long
even
have you
now.
how long have you been doing it for?
Oh my God, Joseph. Like, I don't know, for uh, almost 20 years, I guess.
Yeah, 20 years, right. Because I came back from India 2001, 2, 3. So yeah, probably after that I gave it to you, yeah?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Wow.
was, yeah, that was like very new for me. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And then there was another mantra that you also gave us back then.
The Mahamrityunjaya.
Yes, also very good. That it was, yeah, I love that mantra too. And when I was teaching, the ladies used to come with their little daughters and they loved that mantra.
Wow.
Yeah, they were like, they wanted to chant it every time they were there. It was like, wow, amazing.
Wow.
Like you
Because
said,
they recognize the power of the mantra and how it made them feel.
right. Yeah, they were all so happy. I had my daughter Erica ready there to babysit while I was teaching the mothers, but no, they wanted to be in the class.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like amazing.
How beautiful. Yeah, the
Yes.
children knew. They knew.
Yeah. Oh, they were very receiving. I loved it. It was
Beautiful.
nice. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes, thank you, Joseph. You're always wow. Always you always come to my mind whenever I have even nowadays with my son. I love him so much with all my heart. You help me to bring him to life. But it's very challenging with him. He's very good kid, but he has another side of him that does things that I don't know. I don't know. So I'm going through a lot with him, but always your words come to me and bring me peace and calmness, and I'm like, all is well. This is happening. I don't know why. I accept it. I don't understand it, but it is what it is. And yeah,
Right. So in such a situation, what you can do is you can send him healing light because he's an adult now. He's going to make his own decisions, and we need to let the children, the kid, he's not a kid anymore, he's in his
but
20s. So we need to let them make their decisions and their mistakes, but we can send them healing angels. We can send them healing light. We
Thank you.
can pray for them.
Right.
But everybody has to go through their life experience, and we cannot stop them from their quote mistakes and their lessons. That would
Exactly.
actually be a travesty if we, in our own infinite intelligence that we think we possess, try to stop someone from learning their lessons.
Right. All these words you told me before, long time ago, and all these words come to me. There's no way that I can stop suffering or anything on him. He has his own path, he has to follow it. And I just have to, exactly keep sending him light, healing light, and pray for him and put it in God's hands. That's,
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
no other thing that I can do.
At the same
Yeah,
time, you say, if ever you need any help, I'm here for you. That's it.
exactly.
If ever you need
Yes.
any help, I'm here for you.
That's exactly what I tell him. Yeah, and I also tell him you can also go always to Joseph. He's always, willing to
Absolutely.
speak to you. Yeah, he knows that. When I tell him about you, his tears comes out and he's like very touched and he's like I'm like so embarrassed and I'm like he's not gonna judge you. He
Oh
helped
no,
he
no, no,
helped
no.
us to bring you here to the world. You know, Joseph, thank you so much.
Yeah, you always tell him there's nothing he cannot share with me.
Right.
Nothing.
Right. He even told me things that he didn't tell me. He told me that he told you something. I said, "Oh my God." And I said, do you see any judgment?" She says, "No, he's an angel." I said, "Absolutely. He is an angel. He just there. He holds space for us. And you know, you just can see love and love coming out of him for us. That's all I can see and feel,
Yeah.
Joseph.
So
And he
so
does.
we all need to let him just have his life experiences, and when he's ready, he will come.
Right. Right, right, right. Thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you. I really love you, appreciate you, and always pray for you to be always here for us, Joseph. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Anna.
much. I love you so much.
Thank you, Anna. I love you too. And you're like my best student, Anna.
Such an
From
honor, Joseph.
from what you came to me as in the beginning to now, you're like the greatest transformation I've ever seen.
Thank you. Thank God to put you in my path. Really,
Hey,
thank
I'm in many people's paths, but you're the one that, said, "Oh, I'm going to step on this one and on this one's coattails, and I'm not going to let go." So that says a lot about you because I've met many, many people, but no one's gone as deep as you, maybe a few, but you gone very deep in the teachings and learning everything I was teaching, coming to every class that I've taught. So, it says a lot about you too, Anna.
thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you. I just can say that. Thank you. Thank you
You're
so
welcome,
much.
Anna.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Appreciate you.
Me too. Love you.
Wonderful. Yeah. If ever you find a teacher that resonates, hold on tight because they can help you. Their field of consciousness can help you grow in incredible ways. I mean, I couldn't be here if I didn't have my teacher. I had two different teachers. Um, and one of them, I held on really strong from age 25 until 45. I was like, I need this person's support like no one's business. And because of them, they lifted me up and out of my own, you know, pain and suffering. And, the field of the healer, of the teacher, once you plug in, you're plugged in. You're going on a ride. So we all need that support. We cannot do this on our own. We cannot. It's not possible. Even now, I am plugged in. I am plugged into various teachers on the other side. I know who I'm working with, and there's nothing I could do without their support. So I do everything from their field of consciousness. So we all need that level of support. So when you find it, hold on tight and go for the ride, especially in this lifetime, especially in this lifetime, or any teachings that really resonate. study them. Before I go to bed every night, I read a little bit of my, my spiritual books to remind me what I may have forgotten. And that keeps me going over and over and over again. Anyone else want to share, speak, need some healing work?
I'd like to share a little.
Sure.
Um,
Summer.
yeah, that the Gayatri mantra does a lot for me too. Perhaps I could use more of it, but I do sit with it every morning, and um like I had a medicine journey at one point. Shane kept kind of trying to get me into this, and then at some point I had this medicine journey, and my vision just sort of cut across the space to the goddess yantra. And I just crawled over there and just connected with it so intensely. And it was so incredible. And it was animating. She was animating. And I was breathing her in. And it was just so incredible. And I just took it back with me into the bed. And it was such a connection. And then I learned the mantra. So I say it when I look at the yantra, and um it just feels like such a cleansing, and I mean more than that, but just such a beautiful way to start the day. And I might wake up in a certain mood or something, but the sooner I do that, the better. And I just wanted to share, like, I learned the Sanskrit Institute has a recording of the Gayatri mantra that I bought, and I just listened. I mean, it's so magical to just listen to it, and then over time, I now I sing it like that man. But I learned it through the recording, and so that was such an easy way to learn it properly.
Yeah, you can do it. I mean, David Pramal has a really nice one on YouTube that goes on for, I think, 108 rounds, about an hour. And I'll put that on sometimes just to hear because it cleanses the whole space. Wonderful.
Could I ask you for a little healing?
Sure.
I saw you recently, and I took the big homeopathic, um, and I felt a lot of shift. Like I could feel shifts in my head and in my gut. Um, and I do feel a shift, but my gut is still not feeling great.
So it's not 100% yet.
No.
Which percentage better is it?
Oh, I'd say, I don't know, maybe 50, 40, 50-ish%. And I'm being kind of careful. I mean, I eat pretty well generally, but I'm being kind of careful right now and not eating fruit. So, and
Right,
things like that.
right. So 50% is pretty good.
There is something changed for sure.
Right. But the mindset is better, right?
Around it.
No, the mindset in general.
Um, in a macro sense, over years, yes, but I'm in a weird space. I think I need some craniosacral. My head bones seem to be out of place.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I'm in a little I entered something I kind of entered another little zone of, like, hearing the voice of I hate my life, I want to leave. And um
When you think about your digestive stuff, how do you feel?
despondent, hopeless.
Take a dose of gorse. Now, when you think about your digestive stuff, how do you feel?
Um hmm. Some better. It's almost like a part of me is even fighting feeling better, and then I feel a little ache in the throat.
Take a dose of willow.
That little voice that says, I can't, I can't.
Chestnut bud.
Kind of disgust. I don't want to be around people.
Crab apple.
Some better, but a sort of like almost a hesitation, almost a shame.
Like water violet.
I could feel those little flowers just blooming around my head.
When you think about your gut, how do you feel?
Okay, it'll get better. I feel sort of just like somewhere up in here, I still feel sort of, I don't know, the word disgusted comes, or shame, or
Take a dose of pine.
a bit of grief.
Grief.
Yeah,
Honeysuckle.
it's like a sadness, but also a voice saying it's going to be okay.
Good. Gentian. Good. Central channel's more open now. Solar plexus is more open. Notice that?
Yeah, yeah.
More space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I that.
good.
I'm still a little sad.
Take a dose of Star of Bethlehem.
Feel quite a bit better.
Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else? See how fast we can come back online? Just knowing something as simple as the flower essences. But there's many tools. There's many tools to bring us back to presence, because healing can be instantaneous when we allow it, when we receive it, when we're open to it. We don't need any traumas and dramas. We don't need to, engage the fearful mind, right? When that person fainted in the room, call 911. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. Just let's be present with it and see what unfolds. And then within, 15 minutes, we were back to the group. So, what we bring to the table, that presence we bring to the table, that witness that we bring to the world can neutralize so much in a situation, can totally neutralize it. Now, I can do as much as I can do with Summer, right? As much as she can receive. That's why she keeps coming back, because each time I work with her, there's more opening, of which more energy can come through. So we go through this process over and over and over again for years, because if we went through the transformation too fast, we'd go loopy. We'd go to an insane asylum. You can't go from a conditioned mind to an open mind overnight. It's going to happen over time to allow the being to be able to release and integrate, release and integrate. Because every time we are upgrading, we're letting go of the old self, the old iteration, and we're taking on a new blueprint. And it takes time to integrate the new blueprint. Then we're there, and it's like, oh, I've arrived. And it's like, oh, yeah, not really. And then we go through the next upgrade where we have to disintegrate that iteration of ourselves, because they're all plateaus. None of them are the mountaintop. So we do these flowers, we do homeopathics to keep getting us to the next plateau where we have an even greater perception of the vista, of universal consciousness, of the mind of God, whatever it is. We have a little more insight because we're a little more higher on the spiritual mountaintop. But it's a process. Everything is a process. I didn't get to where I'm at overnight at all. At all. It was a very long journey, and there's still a ways to go. But the plateau is pretty nice right now in this moment. But there's always another dissolution to go to of one's limited perception of reality. There's always more to die to, the false self. And so we go this process over and over and over again. And that's why meditation is such an important tool, because it helps us die to the old and be reborn to the new, to die to the false, frightened, limited, wounded self, and to integrate the higher soul qualities of presence. And that's what life is. Death and rebirth, caterpillar, butterfly, caterpillar, butterfly. We're constantly upgrading to an even more beautiful self, radiant self. How wonderful. We're constantly upgrading to get greater wings so we can fly to higher altitudes like the eagles. Anyone else would like to speak?
I have a question. it is meditation related. I ordered the book that you had recommended on Instagram a couple weeks ago, Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. Thank you. Singer. Loved it. And I've been distracted by the one school of thought of you create your future, manifesting, and his surrendering to, through his meditation practice, what life served up to him. And that is a very attractive way to let go and chill through life, because he ended up with this extraordinary life. And I think it's my ego that's saying, well, what do you want? How do you know what you want? Like this standing over here, like, no, we've worked so hard on all these tools and keys and techniques for manifesting, and we just need to know what we want. So do you have any advice of how to just, maybe you've already said it through this class, observing that chatter. And when you said the teeth on the shelf, that thing, that was so good for me to see, because it's almost like senseless, like
Yeah.
that falls off the shelf. I think as I'm talking, you've already answered my question. Observe that.
Actually, it's a very good thought, because I had the same thought as I was reading the book. I'm like, it's so curious, because Michael Singer in the book, The Surrender Experiment, he just surrendered into what life brought his way and basically said yes to everything, even though he didn't know how things would work out. He just said, I just say yes and then see what happens. And we are all programmed before birth for the life that we're born to live. So his way of living life was to simply let life lead him, which is not very different than the manifestation, believe it or not. So he would go with the flow and then follow that flow. When I'm talking about manifestation, that's actually part of the flow. I'm manifesting because I'm being prompted. This is an important distinction to get. It's not my ego that's prompting me to manifest, because I personally don't care. I don't really have a lot of needs per se. But when my inner voice says, get a house, things are going to get a house in the country. This is 2017. Get a house in the country because things are going to get cray-cray. That's what my inner voice said. So that's a prompt. And so I was like, okay, great. This is what I want. And then all of a sudden, more was prompted as time went on to get this house. So it was already part of the divine manifestation that the divine wanted to experience. The divine that lives in this entity called Joseph. So Michael Singer is just going with this whole flow of life, having an extraordinary experience because he surrendered into everything. He also meditated every day, no matter what was happening. He meditated every day, the Kriya Yoga meditation, which I found fascinating. No matter what was happening, that man meditated. So he was committed.
Yeah. That was priority number one.
Right. And didn't sleep a lot from what I understand. I mean, how does one accomplish all that he accomplishes in a lifetime and also sleep 8 hours a day? I have no idea. I can't imagine. So yes, it's not a this or that. It's what is my path in this lifetime? And how do I receive my guidance? And then what is my action with this guidance? Some people would do very well with just surrendering like that. But there is an importance to the surrendering. It's a very important part of the process of life. Surrendering to the moment. That's meditation. I'm surrendering to this moment. Anna has to surrender to her son doing what he does. Why? Because if she doesn't surrender, she suffers. So surrendering and humility are very important parts of the path. And meditation teaches us that. It teaches us all of these qualities so that we may handle what life presents to us. But, if your mind is like, well, why don't we do it his way, or why don't we do it that way? Yeah, it's another aspect of the spiritual ego of doing things the right way, as if there's a right way, as if there's a wrong way. So you look at that spiritual ego that's like chiming in about how to do meditation or how to live one's life spiritually. And you're like, well, thank you so much for your opinion. We're going to just keep doing what we're doing, and we will be led to where we are led. So the older we get, the more we practice these practices, the more we strengthen our muscle of intuition and guidance, the more we know exactly what we need to do in each moment. And when you don't know what to do, what I would do is I would call my teacher and say, I'm thinking about X, Y, and Z. What do you think? And generally she'd say, absolutely not. That's not what you're supposed to do. And I was like, you know what? I already knew that. But I was pretty attached to, for example, living in Hawaii. Nope, you're not supposed to be in Hawaii past 8 more months. Okay, got it. Follow the guidance. She was absolutely right. So when we can't get the information on our own, we need a surrogate. We need someone who has the capacity to see and hear for us because we're too attached to a result, or we're too clogged with our own, egoic stuff going on that we cannot receive because the channels are not clear. So it's always good to know when to reach out to receive support, because what that clear channel is doing for you is they're simply channeling your higher self. So they're just being a surrogate. And that's okay to me. As long as you have a good surrogate, as long as you have a good channel, a good seer, then it's going to be very, very helpful. Great. Thank you for that. That's a really good piece of the puzzle, Amy. Yeah, there's so many techniques out there. You have to find what techniques, what tools work for you without making the tool the be all end all, because at some point we have to drop all of our tools anyway. We have to surrender, the wheels on the bike, the 2 little training wheels. We have to sometimes just let it go and just ride the waves. We'll ride the unknown. Good stuff. Anyone else? I highly recommend the surrender experiment. I'm not sure if I spoke about it here last time, but 3 people said it to me in 1 week, and that's a clear sign. Whenever I receive something 3 times, I respond, and I read it in 2 days. That's how good it was. Plus, I'm writing a book, so it's helpful to see people's styles of writing. And I really thoroughly enjoyed that book by Michael Singer, as well as The Untethered Soul. Is his, I think, more popular one. But yeah, he had to go through quite some tests in his life. And yeah, great teachings in this book. Wonderful. Anything else? Going once, going twice. Such a pleasure being with you all as always. The next healing room will be on June 26th. And thank you all for being present for this evening. The next class I'm teaching is the Flower Essence Workshop in October, both in person at my home in Asheville, as well as online Zoom. So if you want to learn more about what I was doing with Summer and seeing her changes, please come. It's a really amazing workshop, if I do say so myself. Not only because you are learning about the flower essences, but you're seeing them work in real time, and people go through transformations. So it's not only a left-brained workshop of learning, it's also a right-brain experiential healing transformational journey as well. So if you're looking for another tool to bring into your life, or a tool, powerful tool, please come on October 10th and 11th. I believe it is in the fall. All right, y'all. Have a good evening, and I look forward to seeing you next time.